And welcome to the Chelsea FanCast. This is the preview show. It is Friday. I am Stamford Chidge, and he is Jonathan Kydd.
I am Jonathan Kydd.
How the devil are you?
Devilish today, devilish.
Yeah, man. Have you got over the horror show?
No.
JK, mate, I fucking love you, man. I absolutely love you. You stayed to the bitter end, man. You saw the whole match.
I didn't stay for the players applauding us.
Well, they didn't, did they?
There's about 4 came over.
Really? That many?
No, I stayed for the final whistle and then legged it.
Yeah, mate.
Funnily enough, I think it made the journey easier because everybody had left at about 20 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, 70-minute walkout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well, rightly so. I didn't blame anybody at all. I absolutely had people going past saying, fucking at it with this.
Fucking at it, mate. At it with this lot, wankers.
Yeah.
Well, I did a bit of an homage because I had to watch it from the discomfort of my armchair. I mean, I finished work at 10 to 8 and I got back. I missed the first kind of 5-10 minutes and stupidly I recorded it. So I stupidly wound back to the beginning, even though we were already 1-0 down. So I had a very surreal night. But my homage, I did an homage to the wonderful in-betweeners. I like football, but not Burnley. Burnley can fuck off. I said, I like football, but not Chelsea. Chelsea can fuck off. Because I thought in the circumstances, we needed a bit of humour. I think some people have taken me rather literally. So come on, Chidge. It's, come on, mate. Not you, of all people. No, come on.
You should have quoted your sources, you see, shouldn't you?
I should have said HP sauce, mate.
You should have said that. I set you up there beautifully for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Now, thankfully, other than us two complete pillocks, we have somebody with sense and decorum on the show.
Forgetting that the phrase. What is it? Drivel
and pointless analysis before and after games.
Drivel and pointless. I keep forgetting that. I must remember that.
I'll make a T-shirt so you don't have to remember it.
I can just read it off every time. Yeah, absolutely. Before and after games. Before plus after. I love that. I really love that because it's so true.
It is absolutely spot
on. We have the man who's as bright as a button, and I'm not going to be playing the ludicrous fiddle track from 1963.
Fiddle about.
Nobody can hear it. But it is, of course, the wit, the charm, the incisive opinion of the fantastic Martin Wickham.
Yes.
Evening, everyone. And I'm not quite over Tuesday either. I had a ticket, fucked it off, and didn't feel I couldn't be bothered. I wasn't feeling too great in the day, and it's an arse ache trying to get from Liverpool Street to the Emirates and then back and lugging computer equipment and all that shit. So I just said, sod it. And
emotional baggage.
Well, yeah, there was that. Yeah, there would have been that too. But I just thought, sod it, watch it on telly, and it was only slightly less awful than being there. So, yeah. I did notice the TV did cut to the picture of that child with the sign that was first seen at Brentford. So.
Yes, that's a great example. They're only about a month and a half late.
They're so ill-informed, aren't they?
Yeah, but the other thing was I heard it mentioned on an athletic podcast, and they just decided rather than address the point made, go, "Oh, parents must have written that for them. The handwriting's too good." So yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. Martin, you do sound like you got a bit of a cold. Are you all right, mate?
Yeah, just a little bit of a cough and cold. Basically, every time the temperature drops, I get fucking caught out with it. So it's a bit of an annoyance, but what can we do?
Well, I've got my rug on. I'm wearing
one.
I don't mean on my head.
I was going to say your head or your pubic region or what?
Yeah, I've got my Chelsea rug.
Oh, bless you, little cotton socks. Has Avril made you some cocoa?
No, I made my own tea.
Oh, bless you. Anyway, lots on the show tonight. We're going to talk about the Arsenal game in a minute, and then we've got a fantastic. Yes, we do. It's contractual. Yeah. We've got an opposition view. I'm delighted to say our old mate Justin's coming back. We love him. He's such a lovely bloke. And then we're going to have a look ahead to the Aston Villa game ourselves in part 3. So there we go. As ever, do not forget you can watch the show live on our YouTube channel. Absolutely. And also at the same time or at a different place, depending on your viewpoint, on our Facebook page. And of course, you can still listen to it live every Monday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. ish by going to Mixlr, which is chelsea-fancast.mixlr.com. Of course, you can also, by doing that, you can join in the chat by posting live on the chat pages. Many of you do. It's always very, very entertaining indeed, live. You can also follow us on all the socials at Chelsea Fancast. Listen and subscribe on Acast, Spotify, Apple, and all good podcast platforms. And it is obligatory, mandatory that you have to leave us a glowing 5-star review, or we send the lads round. It's very simple. We'll be back after this. Yes, indeed. Chelsea. So much to answer for. Okay, hands up, all of those whose hearts sank when Bag of Shite and Disaster were named in the starting lineup. Yeah, I mean, why, JK? Why?
Why did he feel it necessary? I thought, they must be injured, Chalobah and Silva. But no, they're on the bench and they come on. What the fuck was going through his head? Will we ever know? I don't think so. That was one example of idiocy and ineptitude. I mean, Desazi, particularly when under pressure, which of course you're going to get that from a rampant Arsenal side, just cannot pass to a blue shirt, which is absolutely ridiculous when you are playing central defender and you've taken the ball out, 10 yards away from the edge of the area, and you give the ball away immediately. It is, and funnily enough, they have a shot on goal. And Petrovic, bless his cotton socks, other than the awful gaff at the beginning when it went through his legs, made some fantastic saves. But the horror about that is you cannot make a gaff a game, because that's not good enough.
Otherwise, you'd be called Sanchez.
Indeed, you are. Exactly. There's similarity in that, isn't there? But Badiashile, I was trying to work out what it was. He takes unbelievably mini steps a lot of the time. And you can't say that he nances about, because that's completely not allowed. But the
woke mob will be on you, mate.
I can't say he minces, but he takes very small paces.
He minces, mate.
For his centre half, doesn't appear to time any jumps, which is slightly or bother at all to jump on occasions. Doesn't actually bother. You see the ball coming over, he just watches it. So, but I think we've all worked out already that neither of them is good enough. We've worked that out. So what on earth did Pochettino not play Chalobah and Silva, who have been evolving? We said on the show the other day, at least one of the things that has emerged towards the end of the season is the best two players to play in those positions. Now that he's fit, Chalobah and Silva together, because they do a good job, a decent job, not a great job, but a decent job. But it helps, obviously, if they've got a fullback. Gilchrist, once again, bless his cotton socks, was just it was just too good for him, and he did his best at some crunching tackles, which we all loved. But he was. I would have loved it if he'd come on, but I don't know who else could have played right back. Well, the other option would have put Desazi at right back. My God!
I mean,
that's even worse.
Yeah, but interjection, Your Honour. I felt for Gilchrist. I felt for Gilchrist and Cucurella. I thought Cucurella.
Yeah, decent go.
Yeah. I'm warming to Cucurella. Like I said on Monday, he puts it about. He puts a shift in. I mean, I know he can be a bit hapless with his positioning and stuff, but he makes an effort, and I kind of like that. But the thing is, neither he nor Gilchrist had any protection whatsoever from Madueke or Mudryk. And poor old Enzo and Caicedo were pulled. I mean, this was an exceptionally good team we were playing. Let's be under no. I hate to say that, but Arsenal are a fucking good side, and they knew exactly how to hurt us, and they pulled us apart. And that first goal was a classic. You know, Gilchrist was less high and dry there. He had no chance.
Absolutely, but the one I watched a bit of the end of the telly after I got back, and they did point out that it was sussed in the first half that Mudryk was paying no attention to actually running to prevent anything from a short corner, and they consequently scored. Used that to set up both goals in the first two goals in the second half. And in fact, his performance, I'll get onto it now, I was going to get onto it later, was completely bewildering, because I don't
really, because we've seen it before.
No, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I've seen him be crap before. I've never seen him not bother to actually challenge anybody. I don't think I've ever seen a Chelsea player just stand about. I ever watching Chelsea for 120 years as I have never seen a player not actually make any effort, and he kept doing it when anybody else had the ball. He would not close down, and he looked as if he was absolutely. It was like he'd been teleported down into the middle of something. He didn't actually appreciate what was happening. It was
like the man who fell to earth. Got the same kind of haircut, funnily enough.
Yeah. Absolutely similar. Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same.
And it was fashion sense.
It was David Bowie, a perfect fashion sense from 1971. Chidge. Oh my God.
No, it was later than that. It was mid-70s.
Yeah. 76. So you're right. You're right, because he was 76. I saw him at when I was in France. But yes, he was. That's the story where he mimed a heart. He did a heart, which was that. He did a heart like that. Threw it into the audience, and the whole of the row that I was on dived for the fucking imaginary heart and threw me onto the ground. And I turned around and said, "Vous êtes tous cons," I said, which of course is not polite. No. I said, "C'est un cœur imaginaire. Fuck off."
Enculé.
Yes, enculé. Enculé-toi.
Speak fucking English. Why don't you speak fucking English?
Actually, we haven't heard from you. It's about time he bloody did, really.
Yeah, mate. Get in there, man.
I've not heard from me either. I was feeling lonely.
Disaster, Mudryk.
Right, I'll take you back to the first two tossers.
Yes.
Right, so Benoit Badiashile signed from Monaco. Axel Disasi signed from Monaco.
Yeah.
Lawrence Stewart hired from Monaco. Follow the fucking pattern here. We seem to have established a somewhat solid, by comparison, central defensive partnership. Unfortunately, one of them's getting released at the end of the season, and the other will probably be getting sold. So there's no point in getting too fucking attached. It seems that in the absence of Fofana and his biscuit knees, we're stuck with these two. And I think
relegation beckons.
Well, we're fucked because they're absolutely useless. I'm watching a pair of them of a professional international class centre back doing some of the shit I saw Tuesday night was absolutely unacceptable. They shouldn't, in my view, they shouldn't be in the fucking first team ever again. But we haven't. Who do we put in?
Well,
and leaving Gilchrist and Cucurella as exposed as they were because they put two players in front that they knew were not going to track back. Just negligent, in my opinion. Why couldn't they play Chilwell on that left flank in front of Cucurella?
Martin, I because he's not fit. That's the problem. Nobody's fit.
I think
that's the problem.
Chilwell on one leg would have been more effective than Mudryk in that game.
I agree, but you could have played Sterling there. I think. The other.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. This may be controversial, but he'd be a bit more fucking diligent than Madueke was.
Yeah,
at times.
No, I have to agree based on the showing from Mudryk and Madueke. But
I like Elliot's 4D thinking in the chat. Was this a sneakily genius move by Poch to expose how wank the sporting director signings are? It's not a sneakily. Everyone in football knows the signings are fucking shite. Everyone, they know we have had our fucking pants pulled down. They know that the only signing that has worked out, and that was a bit of a fluke as well, was Cole Palmer. Maybe Malo Gusto. Petrovic has probably overperformed a little bit too. Rest, absolute shit. And with high price tags on, and with reduced sell-on value. With the financial implications of this down the road could be disastrous. And I am sick of dealing with people on social media who are trying to complain, trying to make out that dog shit is somehow chocolate, that it's all part of some master plan. No, there is no fucking plan. Get it through your heads.
It's a fucking shambles from top to bottom, mate. Listen, I was kind of beginning to have sympathy for Pochettino, really, because, given the injuries, given the shiteness of a lot of the people that have come in. But, as far as I mean, you know, from what I understand, he didn't pick Chalobah because he was tired, and Silva because he was tired. And apparently, I read somewhere that Silva had a death in the family, so his mind wasn't right. So, you know, maybe that's why he picked them. But that's in the balance. But why on earth? Why on earth does he not listen to the Chelsea FanCast? For God's sake, Poch, sort it out, mate. I
think you've said you don't listen to it on occasion.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's fair. That's very fair,
Martin.
Martin.
He has done it though.
Yes, I was here. Here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even remember what I said.
Yeah, no,
I did. No, but I did. I remember saying this. I remember saying Enzo is clearly carrying an injury. Don't pick him. Pick Gallagher and Caicedo in their place. Much better idea. What does he do? He picks Enzo, who is now going to be out for the rest of the season because he's finally going to get his injury sorted out. I mean, that is stupid. I'm sorry, but that is stupid, Martin.
Well, was there a diktat that he had to play? I'm sure Pochettino, with a bit of sense, would know you cannot play a guy with a hernia.
Yeah,
unless they're trying to conceal it in some way, and I don't think he was.
It is bonkers. It's bonkers. You know, apart from all this wonderful kind of like moaning from the get-go, I mean, having watched it a little bit more dispassionately, possibly on the telly, I say possibly. I actually, genuinely, I mean, we're going 1-0 down because we were an absolute clusterfuck. It's just so predictable inside 5 minutes. But I actually thought we did okay in the first half. I'll tell you what I mean when I say we did okay. We still created a lot of chances. Of course, we can't finish our dinner, but we hung on in there because they could have been 3-4 up in the first half, but they weren't because we'd hung on in there. And I thought, hello, all right, I can, fine, good, well done, boys. You've been on the wrong end of it, but you've had a go, and you're only 1-0 down. Let's give it a right go. Let's give it a right go in the second half. Let's give it a right rollicking go in the second half. No.
Guess what? They
conceded within about another 6 minutes. And then after that, JK, it was a complete fucking shambles. They fell apart, poor defending. And I mean, even Poch, and there's a part of me that really feels for this guy. Even he said they're so soft and they gave up. I mean, what a thing to say as a manager. Yeah. What a thing to do as players.
As we'll find when we get to the presser, in the final third of it, he did his thing about saying that some of them aren't good enough and we'll have to assess in the summer, which he said the other week and then the following week retracted, if you remember.
Yeah.
So, but for that reason, he said he couldn't actually believe that they gave up so easily.
Well, it's the first time it's really happened. It's to that degree, in my view. I mean, they completely folded it in the second half. It was actually quite disturbing. It was like last season all over again. Once they'd have nothing to play for, once they're out of all the cups, they just tossed it off last season. And admittedly, we've only got one game's evidence this time, but this is the first game after the last cup's gone, and they've tossed it off.
Yeah,
that second half performance was unacceptable for any professional footballer of any league. Never mind one assembled for £1 billion fucking quid.
Yeah, I mean the reality is it's. I'm sorry, but it's unacceptable. It really is, and I think the context is everything, as it always is. I mean, this really hurt because we were all really geared up for this because we were looking forward to the chance of ruining Arsenal's party. And helping to stop them win the league, which would be awful if you lived in London. I used to work just off Holloway Road. I don't like these people. I wouldn't want them to win a fucking, raffle in a WI bloody market. No, they cannot win the title. We were there supposed to stop them, and we get gubbed 5-0. It really hurts, and that's our heaviest defeat to them as well. It's not acceptable. Sorry, but it's not.
He made an excuse that they were all down because of the Manchester City game.
I'm fucking down, but I was well up for it on Tuesday night.
Hey, you and we'd have been out there. I'd have made more effort. I'd have made more effort than Mudryk ever did.
Yeah. And I'm carrying an injury. I'd have been out there.
Yeah, even with your bad Achilles, you'd have been there limping.
I would have limped my way to the finish line. I have to say, actually, because I know we've been a bit harsh on Enzo, and with good reason, because he's played shit for a lot of this season. But actually, to be fair to him, if he's
we may now have an explanation for the shitness.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, if he's been playing for an injury, I have a very different view of him, and I'm thinking, mate, fair play. I mean, I blame the management on this. They shouldn't have allowed him to play with an injury like that, but it shows balls and commitment. And fuck me, we have to clutch at a few straws at the moment. And players with balls and commitment is high up there for things that we need. So we may have been unfairly unkind to him in recent weeks. To be fair, I don't know. What do you think, JK?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but if he was that injured, why didn't they shove him off to have the surgery? Having said that, though, I think the idea originally, which we discussed, was that Lavia was bought as a kind of midfield replacement, if anything, a high-class midfield replacement to stick in if any of them got injured. So there had been other people available. Enzo might have gone off and had his operation sooner. But yes, if he's been forced to play through injury, well, and once again, this is mentioned by Poch in the press conference. He said it had got too far, it got to the stage where it was too painful for him. So perhaps indeed it was painful before, but there was no one else to come in who he trusted, which to some extent makes me slightly disturbed, because why did they get Cassidy back if that was the reason? Because he was supposed to be cover for the midfield. Well, take Enzo off, get him repaired, and play Cassidy, who comes on. I know he's given away 2 goals through lack of closing down, but actually is a big unit, and it would have been nice to see him actually do something. I haven't seen him at all. I don't know what he's capable of at all. He did very well for Leicester. Give him a go. Well, perhaps they'll give him a go if we get into a situation where we can't get into the Europa League or the Europa Conference. Then he might get a go at the end of the season, but that becomes meaningless. But at least you've got an idea. I've got no idea what his strengths are. I'd love to see him play. He looks pretty good, Played well at pre-season. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I agree with that. I mean, why bring Cassidy back? Because that's nuts that they haven't really used him. I mean, obviously, Poch doesn't really rate him is the only answer to that, I suppose. But we have seen evidence of Gallagher and Caicedo working well as a midfield too. I suppose the downside, well, I mean, you'll see when I do my team selection later, but I mean, the obvious answer was to put, either Palmer or Chukwuemeka at 10. But I mean, Chukwuemeka's currently undergoing rehabilitation.
I think he's out for the season, according to the
fuck's sake, really?
Well, that's another mystery. How the fuck has that? What the hell are they doing where players are getting injured, coming back from injury, and then breaking down almost immediately?
Martin, it's apparently the same injury. It's the same injury. It's his knee. It's the same injury he had before.
So did they rush him back? What are they doing? It's the same shit. There was some tweet I saw earlier today. Apparently, Nkunku tried to participate in training and had to withdraw after a few minutes.
I mean, look, mate. Right. If we were a farmer, we would just fucking put this lot, half of them down, mate.
Yeah, you'd have the screens up on half of them.
Yeah, I mean, as Brian Clough said, if you were a horse, I'd shoot you.
When was Brian Clough?
Young man. Well, when he was in Leeds, mate. So
before we bought, he didn't develop the accent that quickly.
He was adapting to the locals, mate.
And then he got told to fuck off.
Only for 44 days, young man. Young man. Now, listen, I've got something really interesting to talk to you about. I know that's rare, but I may have hit upon something here, chaps. Oh, yes.
Are you sure, Chidge?
I am.
Normally everything we do is drivel and pointless.
I know. No, this might not be pointless, and it might not even be drivel. I mean, look, here's the thing. In isolation, getting done 5 can happen. I mean, Tuchel lost 5-2 to West Brom, if you remember, and we loved, the sun shone out of his rear end. I do think that this was somewhat different, and I do think there's something else going on this season. I mean, we've already surpassed our all-time Premier League record in conceding goals, 57 and counting. And it just occurred to me, whilst I do my best thinking on the Kazi, mate. I don't know about you, but I sit there and I just drift off and thoughts come to my head.
The bath for me.
Is it the bath? No, I always do it when I'm having a dump, mate. Always.
Being near water's good.
Okay. I think lightening the load on my brain is possibly what helps me. Anyway, I was sitting there having a dump, thinking about life and Chelsea mainly. No connection there. Shit and Chelsea. But anyway, I was thinking to myself, we've conceded a hell of a lot of goals this season. but we've scored a lot of goals this season. You know, the 4-3s, the 4-4s, things like this. And it suddenly dawned on me, you know, that Pochettino is an acolyte of Bielsa. We're seeing Bielsa-like football. It's like watching Leeds from a couple of seasons ago, where they would get dubbed by somebody good, and then they would like beat people, hammer them one week, and then they'd have like, you know, mad kind of 8-9 goal thrillers or whatever. It's like watching that. I think this is the Bielsa effect. Basically, Pochettino is a Bielsa acolyte and doesn't know how to defend. You know, and you listen to his pressers, as you do, because you listen to them, so we don't have to. A lot of the time, he says it's all about attacking and it's about this. Spurs were the same. So maybe the issue that we've got is you know, I mean, you either love Bielsa football or you hate it. I agree, it's a bit Marmite, but maybe that's what the problem is. What do you think, JK and Martin? Let's have Martin first, because he'll probably disagree with me. That's why.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't remember watching Spurs if they were as defensively.
You mean you didn't even watch Spurs with Pochettino in charge, Martin? Goodness
no,
me.
Funnily enough, no. But I don't remember them conceding as many stupid goals and as frequently. I agree with you. It does sound a little bit like Bielsa. Excuse me. But yeah, it's just a complete lack of organisation in that part of the field. And until that gets sorted, we're not going to get anywhere. So excuse me, I'm just going to put myself on mute. Over to you, JK.
Oh, you poor chap. You're having a spasm.
He's having a Bob Fleming moment.
Oh, he's all right. Good. I don't know. Don't know enough about Bielsa. I agree with you completely, Chidge. I know that he's an acolyte of his, and I think they went down, didn't they, that season? Or were they? Did they? That was the season they hung in there, I think, but weren't very good. They went down the following season with the Jesse bloke who was then sacked, and at the end of the season, who did they have? Whoever it was, just didn't.
Jesse Marsh, wasn't it?
Jesse Marsh to the end of the season. I thought they brought somebody else in. I thought he was sacked just before the end, and they brought someone else in who failed.
They brought in a big Spanish guy who used to coach Watford, then Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, then Allardyce. That's right. Of course they did. I knew it was someone large. But
our next manager, Jesse Marsh, possibly our next manager. Really, he's American, isn't he?
Makes sense. Yes.
What happened to that other one, Bruce America? I don't know what his real name is. He was the the manager of the USMNT.
Bruce Arena.
Bruce Arena. There we go. Well done, Martin. You're good.
Yes.
We'll have him.
And I think Spurs had better defenders already in place, didn't they? So it wasn't difficult. I mean, it doesn't help, is it? You can be an advocate of somebody's philosophy, but if some of the players you've got on your side are shit, you've had it, haven't you? Really? I mean, one of the things that the season has taught us is that, as you've said, Martin, as large numbers of this team don't have the right mentality, attitude, application, or motivation, as well as the skill. So they're lacking in that as well. So in the end, you're a bit fucked, aren't you? Really, with that combination. And obviously they and it showed also how much they missed Palmer and Gusto, who were top players. So the only two people who've come out of this really with any credit for the season are Gusto and Cole Palmer. And you can't build a team around two players. And yet, weirdly enough, it looks at this moment as if with them playing, it's a much better unit, or whether they get encouraged by it. Be interesting to see what happens against Villa with Enzo not playing, because we established before, didn't we? We're going to talk about that later on.
We will. Listen, I want to. There was a really good article or an interview with Ruud Gullit this week. I won't bore you with the bulk of it, but as you can imagine, you know, full of insight and honesty.
About Chelsea or someone else?
About that Chelsea.
That
Chelsea.
Yeah. Well
this is the last paragraph, which I think was the most telling thing, which we've been saying exactly the same for weeks and weeks and weeks. He says, there really is, I'm not going to do it in a rude voice, but there really is a lack of quality. They all think, that wasn't an invitation. Sorry.
No, I get it. Sorry.
Yeah. There really is a lack of quality. They all think they are better than they are. And that's the worst thing of all. They have too many players who think they are better than they really are. I trust the judgment of Ruud Gullit, Martin. Do you?
I do, and you know, Dutch people don't have a filter when they speak in English, so they're as blunt as fuck, and that's
As blunt as fuck.
I agree with every word of that. There are so
Yeah.
many players though who think they're better than they are. Why were they trying to take a penalty off Cole Palmer? It's just absolutely outrageous. Some of the carry on. It's that they try and play football in a way they haven't earned the right to do so yet.
I think we've established earlier on that some of them think playing for Chelsea is like the be all and end all. They play for Chelsea; they don't need to make any effort now.
Well, if they thought it was the be all and end all, they might make some fucking effort. These lot of
well, I mean, the sense that all they need to do is get on the pitch. They don't need to make the effort. They're making the money. They're
elite. They're elite.
They're elite footballers. Yeah,
because they're playing for an elite club.
Yeah.
If they're elite footballers, I'm a fucking Formula One driver.
Yeah, exactly. You are indeed. Well, you're not. You're not. Obviously,
I'm not. I don't.
You are indeed right, though, Martin.
I might be the same height as some of them, but I am not a fucking Formula One driver.
Can I just put something out here?
You can, JK. You can.
Rich in comments. Rich, we love your comments. We don't say this. Rich Moneymakers. We love. I don't know if that's your real name. Rich.
I think he's got HP or Daddy Sources, mate.
Yeah, because with the word from my contacts,
it's
a constant with you.
Does he know Ron? Does he know Ron?
Yeah, I think you might know my friend
Ron.
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 It is Ron.
Here's another one from my contacts. We are not seeing.
Hang on. Let me. I can do something clever.
Of course you can. Yeah.
I know. Hang on. Why isn't it doing that? There you go. No, I don't want that one. It's because they're putting so many comments in there. I press the button and it scrolls down. I've lost it.
The best.
Here we go. Right, Rich Moneymakers. From my contacts, Nonny is good, but we need to give him time. Okay, and here we go. Secondly, from my contacts, Mudryk, we are not seeing enough improvement from him, and we are getting concerned about them. No shit, Sherlock.
That's not contacts. That's just two working eyes.
That's common sense, mate.
The best one of all was half an hour up when he said, "From my contacts, they want Winstanley sacked."
Oh, really?
Please.
Can they take Stewart with him? We're going to talk about that.
Won't they then appoint Paul Jewell's son? Isn't that the idea, to take over? Or
I haven't got. Who knows? Who knows? Just get people who know what the fuck they're doing.
Listen, actually, that's a good segue.
From Brighton, for God's sake.
Yeah, nobody from Brighton, please. Look, well, actually, this basically, I want to summarize all this with the last 2 points I wanted to make. Firstly, we've been seeing recently comments from Pochettino, really about what is needed, which is experienced players and better players, really. I mean, my question really, JK, is will they heed what he says or fire him or replace him? And I was thinking, actually, you just mentioned Brighton there, looking at Arsenal, much as I hate to do it, maybe they should have been following Arsenal's model, not Brighton's.
Well, Arsenal's model didn't work for the first 4 years, did it?
No, but
he won the FA Cup, but
he had to get rid of a load of the old stages. He had to get rid of the Wenger kind of, the post-Wenger malaise. But they bought good players. They bought Rice. They bought a bloody Champions League winner.
What the fuck happened with Chelsea with Rice? How did somebody?
Winstanley fucked him off.
Oh, of course he did.
My contacts told me that.
Yeah, my contacts told me that too.
I have no contacts that told me that, but if it's even halfway true, Paul Winstanley needs to be taken to the top of a fucking very tall building and thrown out the window. Because
if we still had Roman in charge, he probably would, allegedly.
Oh, controversial, but if that's happened, that is just professional negligence of the highest order.
Can they tie Lawrence Stewart to him when they do it?
Build a bonfire, put fucking. What was the song Brighton used to have? Build a bonfire, put fucking Winstanley on the top, Lawrence Stewart in the middle, and then burn the fucking lot.
Absolutely right.
But because Rice is a monster of a player, isn't he?
Hell of a player.
What a player! What a player! You despair at the fact that he got. You look down the list of people that we haven't had. De Bruyne and Salah and him and others playing decent. I mean, even to my bemusement, Felix is playing well for Barcelona, even though they didn't get into the next round. There he was, in a better team, being better. Quelle surprise! Oh dear.
He didn't do much on Sunday night. But
No, he
there we
didn't.
go.
He was better in the Champions League. He played some good stuff in the first leg. Actually, I liked him as a player. I just didn't think he was. It was his shooting was the major problem, wasn't it? But he was a class act. The kind of player that in the past we'd have had in the first team, and he would have flitted in and out because he was the average. That would be the average standard, as opposed to us going, "Oh, he's pretty good, isn't he?" For God's sake. Yes. I've lost my place.
Oh, look at that last comment.
What was that then? Oh, okay. I like this. It's my new toy. Poch has told Winstanley if he doesn't get more say in the transfers, he will walk at the end of the season. Well, that's kind of really. Hey, bloody hell! Johnny Minerals is in here. Land the minerals, fellas. Big up, Chidge. There you go. Have it.
Well, so much of what Pochettino's been saying recently just sounds like a repudiation of everything that's gone on with regards to buying the players. So either he's talking like there's going to be a parting of the ways at the end of the season and the decision has been made, or he's trying to force their hand. And if there's one thing we know about the people who run the club is they hate criticism of any kind, even mild mannered criticism from people who mean well.
But as we'll see in the press conference, he's done this now twice in pressers and said people need to be analysed in the closed season, and then we'll see what we're going to do with it. And then the following week has said, no, well, I'd have to talk to all the sporting directors before we make any decision when asked that. It's almost as if his knee-jerk reaction to something is to want to say what he would like to do and is then put in his place. So let's see what happens with the next press conference, which will be Wednesday as well.
We will indeed.
We haven't got to this one yet.
That's coming up in part 3, JK. But that, my friends, is the end of part 1. Coming up, we've got the lovely Justin from the Villa right after this little break.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Proper Chelsea.
Footballfancast.com.
Welcome back. I am Stamford Chidge. Jonathan's just woken up. I've got Jonathan on the show, of course, Martin Wickham. And now it is time for this.
The opposition view.
There you go. Blink and you miss it. But if you blink, you won't miss Justin Hawthorne, one of our favourite opposition views, and that is not a lie.
Not a lie.
Not a lie. It's definitely
the only
true.
one, mind you, Justin.
No, that's not true.
Oh, thanks.
That is not true. As Brian Clough used to say, he what did he say? I can't remember now. He said I might not be the best, but I'm probably the top one.
I mean, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Close enough. And Justin might not be our favourite, but he's the top one. So there you go. Justin, my dear old thing, how the devil are you?
Wonderful. I'm loving the StreamYard as well.
Oh, yes, it's your debut on with the videos and all of that. Yeah.
We use StreamYard and it's fantastic.
Isn't it? Yeah, we're loving it, mate. I keep finding new toys to play with every week. So when somebody says...
Are we live somewhere now then?
Oh, we're live on YouTube.
On YouTube?
I should have shared it.
Yeah, YouTube channel, Facebook page. Yeah. I opted not to go for Twitter because that tend to attract a lower grade of.
I should have shared it on my Twitter, and then I could have got a few Villa fans jumping in.
There we go. And they could have written on our chat room like "You're all a bunch of wankers," and I could have put it on the screen. It would have been fantastic. All these new toys. Anyway, yeah. I mean, unlike us, Justin, you must be very, very happy. I mean, you're flying the flag for the good old Blighty in Europe, last man standing. I watched you shithouse your way through that against Lille and chuckling away at the same time.
Martinez is wonderful. What a wonderful player and goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
wow. All of that.
Andy Hump's trophies.
Yeah, we'd have him like a shot, but he ain't going anywhere.
He's a proper goalkeeper. He's a superstar.
He's a proper goalkeeper, JK. That's right. Hasn't Avril brought you cocoa yet? Where's your rug?
I've got my rug here. Look.
There we go. There we go. He's got his Chelsea rug. Right, Justin. The question is the European Conference League the priority or top 4?
Both. Quite
You're
simple.
not allowed to say that.
I can say it with hand on my heart that having lived through 18 months of the Unai Emery era at Villa, I am categorical in my belief that neither come above the other one. You know, he takes every. I know it's an old footballing cliche. He takes every game as it comes, tries to go as far as we can in everything, and we are very close to both of them now. So there isn't, for me, a reason why we can't do both. So I don't see any reason why both aren't achievable. You know, we take each game as it comes. The league is the next priority tomorrow against you lot, and then once that's done, then the Conference League will be prioritised on Thursday, and that's how he's done it since he's arrived. And it's the most important way to run a football club, isn't it? You know, especially when you want to win things, you've got to try and go as deep as you can in anything.
Yeah, he's done really well for you, hasn't he? I mean, you know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you know, everybody loves a trophy, but actually, for Villa to make top four, and I don't mean this in any way to be patronising, but you know, you were relegated I mean, you're a huge club, and I'll go into that in a minute. But you know, you were relegated a couple of years ago, so to bounce back, get Emery clearing up the mess that Gerrard left. And then, you know, you are on the verge of top four. I'd say you're in the box seat, really. It is fantastic. So, yeah, getting top four for you is a massive achievement. But a trophy's a trophy, and a European one is even better. And I love the fact you will be amazed at this. And I can't remember quite how old you are, but after that Villa game, they had a fantastic documentary with the guy from the Far Show, whose name has escaped me, I'm afraid.
Is that the Super Villains documentary on?
Yeah,
TNT?
they had the whole.
I've seen that. It's very good.
Yeah, they had the whole story of the of Villa winning the European Cup, and of course, I am old enough to remember that. And you know, I mean, we were, I think, we were very close to getting relegated to the third division. It was the next season, wasn't it? We nearly did that, but it was fantastic, and I have warm memories of playing you in semi-finals and other matches where Villa fans en masse reminded us that we didn't have a European Cup.
That was brutal. Hated it. They used to wind me up knowing, but then when we done it, we got it to do it to other teams, and it's fucking brilliant.
You know, I forgot to do this, but I've got a T-shirt with 2 European Cups on it, which I was going to wear in your honour tonight. But I forgot to do that, so you were saved from that. So it would be really massive to win another European trophy for you, surely, yeah?
Enormous, you know. Obviously, we've got the European Cup that we won in '82, which was a huge moment in our history. Arguably, probably is the biggest moment in our history.
Were you around then in '81?
I was 5 years old, so I have very, very small recollection of that time. But you know, it's been 42 years really since we won a European trophy. I think it is something like that. So. And it's been a very long time since it's only the second time in our history we've made it past the quarter-final of the European competition, and the last time we did it, we won it. So I think it's, you know, and we've got the master in charge, haven't we, as well? We've got somebody who lives and breathes European football.
What's he won? 4 Europa Leagues?
4 Europa Leagues, with 2 or 3 different clubs. I think 3 different clubs.
Didn't manage to win one against us, though.
No, he didn't against you. You've got to keep getting these little digs in, haven't you? I'll give them you.
I'll
let you off.
Justin, it's all I've got at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you off. It's okay. We're friends, so I'll let you off on that one. But it is, it's been I know I speak to you guys, you know, regularly, and I love coming on. And our rise since he come in has been something I haven't ever seen. You know, I'm at the point now when I'm saying I just haven't seen this before. I haven't seen a goalkeeper like I've seen before. I haven't seen a striker like Ollie Watkins for a very long time before. I haven't seen a manager this good at Aston Villa probably ever. You know, I'm now starting to look back and think, right, is he the best manager I've ever seen? And for a manager that's been there for 18 months to start having those conversations with your mates, it's quite eye-opening, really. But as you say, as a Villa fan, I know we're a big club, and I know historically, when I first started watching football, we were a bigger side than Chelsea and Arsenal. We'd won more than all these other clubs, and they've all over time, you and Arsenal have just eclipsed us and gone past us and had brilliant moments, well, not moments, but decades of dominance. and we've never managed to ever get anywhere near that kind of level.
Well, it was so
feels
weird. It was so weird, wasn't it? Because mid-70s, you were in the 3rd division when Ron Saunders came along.
Yeah.
And then he took you right back to the top. But I forgot this, and I'm actually, to be honest, I was really surprised. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because it was late. But from what I recall, that league title you won in 1980 was the first time you won the league since 1910 or something daft like that.
It was, really long time, yeah.
Well, I know you won the FA Cup in the 50s because I actually interviewed
57, yeah.
Yeah, because you beat United and everybody hated you because it was it wasn't the Munich year, was it? But some Peter McFarlane. I interviewed. Is it Peter McFarlane?
Peter McFarlane, yeah.
Peter McFarlane, thank you. I interviewed him.
Didn't he rugby tackle the goalie into the goal?
Yeah.
Well, that was when you could attempt to win the ball, and I think he barged him into the net, and they actually placed an outfield player.
Harry Gregg was the
Harry Gregg, yeah.
And he barged him in. I think he broke his neck.
Yeah.
But it was allowed.
He had to play out,
isn't it?
Yeah, but no, I interviewed Peter McFarlane. He was a lovely guy, and I did quiz him about that and say, "Come on, mate, that was a foul, wasn't it?"
Not in them days.
You're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it in those days.
It's only a foul if the ref blows the whistle.
Very, very good point, Justin. Right now, are you worried about Spurs catching you? I mean, they're 2 games. They've got 2 games in hand on you, and they're 6 points behind. But
I don't want to sound blasé, but not overly, and that's basically because of their running. It's horrific. By the time they play again, which is Arsenal on Sunday, we could be 9 points clear of them, and that's a huge. Spurs being Spursy as they always are, that they'll probably go and beat one of the big clubs they've got left, and then go and lose to Burnley or wherever it is. So I think that would mean that out the last 6 games, they've got to win 3 out of the 6 just to get level with us. And bearing in mind, they've got Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and yourselves, I think, still to play. I don't really see that happening. I think we'd have to have a massive blow up in our last 4 games, and they would have to go on a bit of a good run to catch us now. It was weird because it wasn't that long ago they came to Villa Park and we had an absolutely awful day that day. It was probably the worst we've played this season, and they beat us 4-0. And at that point, the press was like, "Oh, that's it. Then Villa are done. They've disappeared, and Spurs are going to just disappear off." And they lost to Fulham 3-0 away the week after. And so it was a huge turnaround since then. But we went to Arsenal and won there, comfortably in the end. The first half was a little bit backs against the wall and trying to dig in. But the second half was one of the best displays I've seen since we beat Man City and then Arsenal at home in the return games earlier in the season. We were absolutely incredible that day. And that's given us, since Christmas, we've had a bit of a lull. We've gone a little bit hit and miss. But we've managed to keep results flowing. But our actual quality and the way we've been playing hasn't hit the heights of earlier in the season until, I'm going to say, the second half against Arsenal. And now it looks like we've returned back to form.
Yeah,
just the right time to play you.
Well, we'll talk about that in a sec. But you've got Olympiacos next Thursday. Yeah. Do you think that's going to impact how Emery approaches us tomorrow, or as you said, he'll just take 1 game at a time?
No, I think we have these conversations on our podcast when we're previewing games and stuff, and we've learned very quickly that we just play the best team that's possible on the day available. We've had obviously horrific injuries this season. I don't think there's another club's had 3 ACLs to deal with.
We've probably had about 8, I suspect, judging by our roster. We wouldn't know though, Justin, because all we ever find out is currently undergoing rehabilitation.
Not playing.
2 of yours got their ACLs on the first game of the season, didn't they? I seem to recall it.
When Deere did his in training the week before, and then the first game of the season, Mings did his in the game. So we lost 2 very important players by the first game. Yeah, but we've missed. Jacob Ramsey's been missing more or less the whole season. He's gone and came back. We've had other players missing.
You haven't missed Mings in the slightest.
No, we haven't, and that was down to the really good signing of Clement Longley, who had to sit on the sidelines for a long, long time, but he managed to get back in the side, and he's done a really, really good. In fact, the 2 lads that came in to replace those players, so Longley and Zaniolo, have really, they've not been ever present by any stretch, but when they've been called upon, they've done really, really well. Zaniolo had a bit of a spell when he wasn't that. A lot of people saying, "Oh, he's just not putting it in for us." But recently, I mean, he's injured now, but he's had some really good games for us. So we've done really, really well. And one thing that Emery hasn't done once is moan or complain or bitch about losing players and like, I've only got this player. Louise and Kamara have been missing for about. Well, Louise got suspended and he was out, so he was out for a while. So yeah, we've done really, really well, and I can't really fault them all. It's just been an incredible season up to now.
Now, last time we had you on, we were about to play you in the FA Cup replay, and none of us really thought we had much chance at all, apart from one person who said, "I think we'll beat Villa 3-1." And they all looked at me like, "Mate, dementia is really finally beginning to kick in, isn't it?" I know. And I said, no, I've got a good feeling about this. We'll do them 3-1. Yeah, fancy that, eh? Are you worried about? Sorry, JK, pop in.
No, just that you frequently say that, so you're bound to be right once in the blue moon.
Fuck off!
Well, a broken clock was wrong.
Yeah,
wrong
exactly.
Today, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Honestly,
No, it's not true. It's not true. He just plucked it out of the ether. I don't know what was happening.
Where are you in the Prem Predictions League?
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yes, thank you. I'm actually even above Martin, who is commonly known as the Brains Trust and does much better than most people in the Premier. I am above Martin. Only Dan is above me from the FanCast group. So
I'll have to join it next year.
We can come to that arrangement. Yeah, I think that we could have you on there because you have been on the Chelsea Fancast, so that would be allowable.
I'll remember.
Yeah. All right. No, I'll email you. I'll remember. I'll email you. I mean, here's the thing, Justin. I mean, in all honesty, nobody really gave us a chance when we went up there for the replay. We've just been dubbed 5-0 by Arsenal in a horrific, shambolic second half performance. You are really very much fighting. You're not. I mean, I think you're in the box seat for top 4, but it's not definite yet. So you're going to be really going for that. It is a bit of a fortress up at Villa Park. But are you secretly a little bit worried because of what we did to you in the FA Cup? Because you really don't know what kind of Chelsea you're going to get.
I think that's my biggest concern with Chelsea is you don't know what. I actually on and off praised Chelsea quite a lot this season, bizarrely, considering the season you've had where you've been.
But you were the one. You were the one person then. Yeah,
well, I think I see a lot of potential in a lot of your players, and I just think it's a mess still. From the outside looking in, it's a mess. You've got too many young players who are too inconsistent, that don't put it in, week out. You haven't got the glue that's knitting them all together with an experienced head in important positions in the pitch. But you've got undoubted quality all over the pitch, I mean, Cole Palmer has got to be one of the signings of the season in the Premier League. I mean, the thing that's annoyed me the most recently is Pep Guardiola coming out and trying to backtrack on he wanted to leave for 2 years. He wanted to, if he knows players like everybody thinks he knows players, how the hell did he let Cole Palmer leave Man City? I don't care what squad you've got. That lad would have comfortably fitted into Man City's 11 ahead of most of the players there. So it's been an incredible signing, and I wished he was injured for tomorrow because that would have made things a lot easier. But
well, he hasn't said he's in the team. He said he's in the squad.
He's trying though, hasn't he? Yeah. I'd be very surprised not to see him start.
That means nothing in training. They can all train. From previous experience.
It was an illness, I think, wasn't it, in the week? I don't think
he wasn't injured. He was ill. He was ill.
I would fully expect him to play, and then if he has had a bad week illness-wise, then it'll probably be just a matter of you start and then you let me know when your legs have gone, if that's kind of thing. So I think that's what will happen tomorrow with him.
He'll be fine.
But you're missing a few other players, but I have to be confident. I'm always confident, and I've got very good reason to be now with the team we've got and what we're doing on the pitch and the manager we've got and the position we're in the league. I can't say anything other than I think, I expect us to win tomorrow night, and that sounds out, might be a bit arrogant, but I think, we are a very, very good team now, and most of the people in the Premier League are starting to sit up now and take notice of Aston Villa again, which for me is wonderful because it's where I've wanted to be for a very, very long time, but it's took a very, very long time to get here. But, we've got one of the best managers in the league, in my opinion, now.
Yeah. You're going to keep hold of him, do you think? I mean, I know he's just signed an
1,000,000%.
extension to his contract, but
No question, honestly, Chidge. Honestly, Andy Goldstein on TalkSport was trying to sell him to Man United and to Bayern Munich and everything. What I think people outside the club don't realise is how intrinsically linked he is with the football club. Now, he didn't just get a contract; he's brought in every single person that surrounds him. His men. Monchi is our director of football. He's got all the other areas where he wants people in. They are his men. And not only that, but we've basically bought his football club in Spain, which is the second division club, which he's a shareholder in, and Villa went and added it to our V Sports group of clubs that we now own. So for me, he's not going anywhere. He's been at PSG, he's been at Arsenal, he's tried that route to success. And I think where he's been most successful is the clubs that are just below that top bracket in their leagues. And Villa now, we're sitting there, and he's got everything he wants over there. He's basically can do whatever he wants at the club, and the owners have got. We've just had a huge investment with a group that are going to that basically own Comcast. I think they do. They are huge people in world, and it's looking like the new stadium is going to be fairly.
Are you gonna rebuild Villa Park or move? Do you think?
I don't want to move, and that would be the last resort. My gut instinct on everything that's going on currently is that we was going to redevelop the North Stand, but that was put on hold. And everyone said, "Oh, why are we putting that on hold? Because we need it, and we do need it." But my gut instinct is we're putting that on hold because we're going for something much, much bigger, which will be a full stadium rebuild within the next 5 years, I would say. But I think they've put it on hold because of Champions League football on the horizon. They don't want one stand disappeared. So
no,
we need a new stadium, basically.
Yeah. It's very kind of similar. It's a little bit similar to us. It's about the same kind of capacity, and it's
it's quite bigger, Villa Park.
What's the capacity of Villa Park, Justin?
42,500.
Yeah, 42,500. What's the capacity at Stamford Bridge?
I take it back, 39,000.
It's actually 40. It's actually 42.5, but they reduced it because of the safe standard.
I always thought Villa, having been there for lots of semi-finals before Wembley, that it was this huge.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, it was. You're talking the days where it was at a regular semi-final venue. That was one of the biggest stadiums in the country.
It was it was terraces, wasn't it? It was terraces.
Yeah. But it was one of the biggest stadiums. Another reason why we've started to lag behind. When you look at what happened with the Spurs rebuild stadium, they're on about Newcastle rebuild. I was up in Liverpool a few weeks ago, and I went to have a look at the new Everton stadium. Whilst it's not capacity-wise a huge stadium, I think it's 50,000. It's a beautiful stadium. So a lot of clubs now.
Shame they'll be in the Championship then next season, but
I don't think they will be. I really don't.
You think they're going to get away with it again?
I do. Yeah. I think they will. I do.
You never know. So anyway, good old Emery. So he's gone from Villarreal to Real Villa, really, hasn't he?
Well, it was Villarreal, and it was who's the other one he was at? He's been at other clubs with Villa. Sevilla, yeah, and under Villa.
Villarreal.
He's at the biggest one now. He's at the Villa now. So
he's not very imaginative, but fair play to him. Listen, mate. What's he going to do tomorrow? I mean, what's the team likely to be, and how they're going to approach it?
Same as we always do. We'll look to retain the ball and play out from the back and frustrate and try and draw Chelsea onto us to hit you through the lines and down the sides and use our attackers. Leon Bailey's been a sensation this season, one of the best attackers in the Premier League. Ollie Watkins' numbers speak for himself. Almost 20 league goals and 10 assists. There's not another player that's done that this season. We've got Douglas Luiz back from a suspension, so he's fit and firing to go. John McGinn's form's back, so I expect him and probably McGinn to sit in the double pivot. Yuri Tielemans has been outstanding for the last few weeks as well. And the one player you need to watch tomorrow is a player we signed in January, Morgan Rogers from Middlesbrough,
Yeah,
who
he played against
recently,
us. He played against us in the
he scored
semi-final.
against you, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good player.
That kid, for £8 million, is going to be an absolute steal. I'm telling you now.
We would have spent 80 million on him.
Yeah, you'd have spent 180 million on him, and giving him a 27-year contract. But I went to watch. We played away at Sheffield United, and he come off the bench, and for about 20 minutes, I was thinking, I'm not sure this lad can step up to the Premier League. He was a little bit off the pace, and I think I went a bit early with it. But he's had a run in the side, and my God, the last few weeks he has been really, really, really good. He picks the ball up deep. He runs with the ball supremely well. His stature's good. He's 6 foot high. He's good in the air. He can pick a pass. He can play in the 8, the 10. He can play in the 9. He scored a couple of absolute quality. The goal he scored last week was really, really good. Great, really composed. Just took a touch inside and hit it early. So he's been a lovely addition to the squad because he's picked up the Jacob Ramsey role, who was on the verge of England last year, and we was absolutely gutted he was out. So yeah, we've got quality all over the pitch, as you know. I'm not sure he'll either. I think he'll stick with Matty Cash at right back. He has been playing Ezri Konsa there, but Konsa's better at centre half, so I expect Konsa and Torres to play centre half. Cash right back. Moreno's out injured, so it'll be Luca Dean left back, and then it'll be McGinn and Louise in the 6 double pivot, and then it'll be Rogers, Tielemans and Leon Bailey with Ollie Watkins at top. That's how I expect us to line up tomorrow.
How's it going to go?
Well, after what happened in the FA Cup, I think they will have a little bit of a score to settle with Chelsea. I don't think they were very happy with that night. I know Emery wasn't very happy with that night as well. So I think given what's on the cusp of happening now, I think I can see, hopefully, we will take control of the game fairly early. I hope we can play off the back of what happened to you against Arsenal. I think if we get an early goal, dare I say a couple, I know Hedge dropped very quickly against Arsenal, and I think he had a bit of a moan that they gave up. So coming off the back of a bit of a tonking, you are going to be a little bit, if things go wrong quickly, there's a bit of me that fears for Chelsea. But having said that, if you get a foothold in the game with the players you've got, and Cole Palmer's back, who's does make the difference. Who knows? I certainly won't be thinking that Chelsea haven't got a chance, because I think that's naive to say that. I think anybody's got a chance against anyone, and we're in silly season, aren't we? Now at the end of the season, I expect us to win the game. That's where I have to be now with Villa, with what we've got, coming up, and those 3 points are so big now with Spurs playing on Sunday. We can really put a marker down. So I'm hoping we can.
I think that will be the difference. You need to win this in a sense more than we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was in your shoes, I would be sitting there going, well, I hope the Chelsea that played Arsenal turn up, and I hope the Chelsea that played Man City don't turn up, because we should have beaten City 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, played very well. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you're such a hit and miss side, a Jekyll and Hyde team, but that's not because. We
could do with them as a centre-back pairing, actually.
But that's and that is solely because you've got good players. That's why at any moment Chelsea can turn it on. What that fight was, it 5-0 against Everton a couple of weeks ago. Everton have just come off the back of beating Liverpool 6-0. And you made Everton look like a League Two side that night. Destroyed them. So. If it clicks, then we've got a very, very tough game on our hands tomorrow night, and we'll have to play very, very well. If Chelsea are off it, and we are anywhere near where our levels have been for 18 months, averaging 2 points a game since Emery came in, I expect us to win the game.
Going to put a number on it, mate?
2-0.
2-0. Okay, well, we will see, won't we? We will see. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to predict. I'm going to wait till the end for that, but there you go.
Well, I'm going to log into YouTube now and watch it.
Yeah.
Now I can do it.
Yeah. You can write...
I'll comment.
Yeah. We've had a few. We've got I don't know. I think we must have we've got an Asna supporter but we can ignore them, pellocks that they are. But you can write some rude comments later if you want, Justin. But Justin, I just want to say, obviously, cheerio, but I won't wish you any luck tomorrow.
No.
I do hope you make top 4, and it's not just because I obviously don't want Spurs to get anywhere near it. But I think you deserve it on the way you played this season. But more to the point, much more important, I just want to thank you for all the times you've been on the show this season. We love having you on. You're great value. You really know your onions when it comes to Villa and football. Hey, I know what I wanted to say. I am going to be at the One Day International on Cup Final Day. In Edgbaston. You going to be there? No.
You're the only person who was happy we lost that semi-final.
I don't tell anybody that. Well, I'll tell you.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah,
we had actually we've had Chris Wokes on again this week.
Oh, have you?
He's now been on twice, and I've been messaging him today because the Punjab Kings in the IPL have been playing, and they've just broke the world record to chase 262. So I messaged him after the game to say, "Well done, give Johnny Bairstow a big pat on the back from me." So that's been absolutely
young Johnny Bairstow, young Johnny
Bairstow, yeah. But now I'm going to try and get down to a few England games.
Well, try and get to the One Day International on the 25th, and we can have a beer or 3.
Well, I'm away. Hopefully, I'll be away the week after in Athens for the final. So.
Oh yeah. Well, good luck. Well, look, good luck in the European Conference League. It'd be lovely to see you win a European competition, and good luck for top 4, and terrible luck for tomorrow, obviously.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on, and after tomorrow, good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Lovely to see you as always. Cheerio, Justin. Right, there we go. Lovely to see Justin. He's such a lovely bloke, JK, isn't he? He's yeah.
Talks beautifully about his side. He loves his side, but in a lovely critical way as well. He's not. He's willing to accept that occasionally they're not good, and it's not a kind of blanket criticism. He's a great observer of his football team, and you can tell they all love Emery. It's interesting, and at an interesting point, I didn't realise that they've inhabited the club with financially, obviously, but also with a lot of his team and cohorts who can make it work, because he doesn't need to get to impress people. He's already got them there on his side. It makes great sense actually to be able to do that.
It does. The thing I like about most of the people, if not all of the people we get on, the opposition view, they're basically like us, but they have the misfortune to support another team.
Yes, yeah, and live in another part of the country, of course.
Well, and of course, yes, indeed. Lovely. All right. Okay, it's time for a very quick plug, as is customary at any stage of the show, but particularly at this stage of the show, because there we go. JK was talking about this earlier on about the banner that the media latched onto after the Arsenal game, thinking this was new. But in fact, I can prove that it's not new, because this is the April edition of CFC UK that was released at least 3 or 4 weeks ago. And DJ, the editor of the fanzine, always has his finger on the pulse, and there's the proof. So there we go. Now, if you want to get that copy, I'm not sure if there'll be many left, but there is a new one coming out very soon. I don't think it'll be out this Saturday. I suspect it'll be ready for the Hammers game. I've written an article. I've written a bit of Martin won't be happy at this, but I've written a bit of an homage to Henry Winter, possibly because I could use the title, "Now is the winter of our discontent," because it seemed to chime very well with our own discontent with our club. But I like Henry, Martin. I know you criticise all of them, and I understand why, and I applaud you for doing it, because you are right.
I'm going to criticise hypocrisy. Winter's not the worst of them by any stretch of the imagination. I serve that prick Jonathan Liu, who wrote a fairly snide article shortly after he got made redundant, which I thought was absolute prick behaviour.
Wasn't he just? He's a prick, but there you go. Anyway,
well, I think Jonathan Agnew had him right.
What did Jonathan Agnew say about him then?
He called him a Gareth, I believe, repeatedly.
Did he really?
Yeah, there's some bust up between Agnew and Liu happened a few years back. I have Aggers right on that one.
Okay, I did not know that. Right, the CFC UK store will be open for business before the West Ham game, and of course before the Spurs game on Thursday. Of course, it might be out for Thursday. I hadn't thought of that. And also, of course, for the last game of the season. So you can buy a copy of the new CFC issue of CFC UK. But if you can't make it at a game, and of course many can't, many aren't lucky or privileged enough to, like we are, But you can subscribe, and actually, this is a good time to subscribe. Get your subscription early for next season. 20 quid for a year's subscription in the UK, 45 quid in Europe, 60 quid the rest of the world. If you want a hard copy, that is. If you want a digital copy emailed to you, then it'll cost you 6 quid for the season, or a quid each. And you can pay via PayPal to fanzine@cfcuk.net. Go and do it now. Now, the other thing we encourage you to buy, and with good reason, that is a CPO, a Chelsea pitch owner's share. That one is a signed one by Frank Lampard. So hallelujah. Now, the thing about these, no other club has something like the Chelsea pitch owners. Ken Bates did this to protect the pitch, or the ground, basically, from being sold to a property developer at a time when we were under serious threat from the people like Cabra and Marler Estates. And it was a very clever thing to do, because he basically made it impossible for them to buy up all the shares, because, of course, if the shares are owned by thousands and thousands of individual supporters, they're not going to sell them. So well done, Ken Bates. Now, okay, we've got very rich owners who have got ideas to build a new stadium. And if we take them at their word, then that's all fine and dandy. But whatever happens, whatever they want to do, they have to get the agreement of the Chelsea pitch owners, which is where you come in. Because if you have a share, if you bought a share, you will get a say. You get a vote on this. So you get some real power. You get to have your voice heard, and it's very, very important. Whatever you vote, that's democracy in action. So shares are priced between 110 quid for an electronic share, 475 quid for a framed share signed by a Chelsea player. Just go to chelseafc.com and search for Chelsea pitch owners. So how about that? Oh, we could get rid of the old CFC UK as well. There we go. Right, we're going to have a very, very quick break, and then we are going to be back for our own preview of Aston Villa versus Chelsea. So don't go away.
Real fans, real opinions.
I'm Jason Cundy, and you're listening to the Chelsea Football Fancast. Up the Chelsea!
Footballfancast.com.
Yeah, up the Chelsea indeed. Thank you, Jason. Right, I'm Stamford Chidge. This is the Chelsea Fancast preview show. We've got the lovely Martin Wickham on as well. We love having on. Hello, Martin.
Evening.
And of course, we have His Royal Highness, the Duke of Jonathan Kydd, who is already in the press room, because it is time now for a little bit of this. If I can find it. Where's it gone? I can't find your sting, JK. Have I deleted it? No. There you go. See, I'm sorry about that. I was just, this is typical. I was thinking in my little inner dialogue just shortly before that happened. I was thinking, God, this show's going really, really well tonight. It's not in anywhere shambles. And then bang, right on cue, I return to our natural habitat of Shambles Land. But it's time for your presser summary.
I'll put a stop to it being any good by doing my presser summary. Do you like the fact that I've gone down to the same level as the badge? Do you see that?
Yeah, I think it'd be probably better if you were up a bit and more central. Then it looks like you're giving the press conference.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Absolutely right. Yeah.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, JK.
You need to use chroma keys to make it look like you're behind the
He
desk.
is using chroma key.
Yeah, if he moves over,
I've got the green screen, but it's not worked very well. So
he's using chroma key from the 1960s.
Yes, that's right. Very like that. Everybody spoke like that at the time, and they did this, of course.
Right, take it away. You watch the pressers, so we don't have to. So what happened?
There was a bloke I've never heard before who got straight. Yeah,
beat me to it.
Who actually asked about the injuries at the very beginning of the press.
No way.
Yeah, because normally we don't find out about the injuries ever, despite it being what we're interested in, the only real thing we're interested in.
So who was this fine man, or was it a woman?
It was a fella, but I didn't. It didn't reveal his name at the beginning of it. He said it's the end of Enzo. How about I've heard there's positive news about Reece James and Levi Colwill. And he was immediately brought down to earth by Poch going, no, which meant basically, no, they are not available yet. They are closed. They are closed. I like that. They are closed. They are closed. They did personal training with the squad, but no. Now, what does that mean? They did personal training with the squad. Does that mean they've got an individual going round with them, but they're vaguely with the squad? I don't know what that meant. You'd have thought the journalist would have said, what exactly does that mean, Poch did personal training? But no. He immediately said, Cole Palmer will be back. And this is where I got dubious about this. I'm talking about whether he'd be playing or what. He put, yes, he was training well. Then he's used the word, we assume, he said. We assume he will be ready for tomorrow and be part of the squad. Not, yes, he'll be there to play. And the trouble is we have had experience of Poch after somebody has been ill, not being in the first team. But would he be foolish enough not to play him? We will see. So he was hedging his bets, as is usual. Don't sit on the fence, Poch. You'll get splinters. Anyway, he was then asked how expensively, an expensively assembled squad. But how are you so reliant on one player? And his response to that was, we can talk, he says talc, he doesn't say talk.
As in talcum powder.
As in talcum powder, yeah, he's trying to spread talcum powder over it. Yeah.
Has he got a friend called Malk? We'll have to call him Malk Pochettino.
Possibly. Anyway, I've learned to realize when Poch says something like "we can talc," he doesn't want to answer the question. And but he said he is a key player for us. We struggle a little without him. And if I'd been there, I'd have said, fucking struggle completely without a little. What are you talking about, you wanker? But I wasn't there, so I couldn't say that. And
you'd do a Neil Barnett if you were there, wouldn't you?
Yes, and I'd be thrown out and never.
This is a very badly managed press conference.
Yeah.
Was Spy back at the one today? Is he, or has he been?
I didn't hear. I didn't hear Spy. No, I fear Spy has been given the
Spanish Archer.
Yeah, Spanish Archer. He then said, this bloke, which is probably the reason we haven't heard of this bloke before, because he asked some quite interesting questions. Lack of character in the side, he started off by saying. And it's interesting, Poch's finger on the desk suddenly started going. And I thought, he wants to give him the finger. For fuck's sake, look, he's doing that. What's he doing that
Was
for?
he doing a Herbert Lom twitch?
He was. Seriously, he was. I wrote down here, Poch's third finger twitches. He moves it backwards and forwards. And this bloke said they concede the first goal and they kind of fall apart. And he didn't like that. Concede the first goal, they kind of fall apart. And he said, that is not true. That is not true. Created chances and the team was on the game. Now, I would debate that because I thought for the first 15 to 20 minutes we won.
That's got a very different meaning on the game.
Yeah, indeed. But with his lack of comprehension of the English language, despite having managed here for over 10 years, I think we can forgive him. He said, the second half, after 6 minutes, we concede, and it showed the lack of capacity to believe.
That sounds quite like the answer the question was designed to engineer.
No, indeed. First 45 minutes, they believe. Team fighting. And this bloke leapt in. Is lack of belief a problem? And he put, sometimes happen. The disappointment of Manchester City. All negative for the team. I mean, come on. Surely not. They're going to be falling apart because Arsenal are better than them because of Man City. And he said, Everton, we beat them well, but we didn't keep the consistency we need. Yes, I think we've Everton, that's right. Everton we beat well, didn't keep the consistency we need. Well, he said difficult to manage the situation on the pitch after 3-0. Well, I sort of get it. What he was saying was their heads went. Then this bloke came in and said, finally, do you see leaders on the pitch who can get the rest of the players up when you're 2-0 down? And he didn't want to answer it. And he puts, happens in any team. You suffer this type of result. And then we have no leaders, no characters. What? And that can happen in the Premier League. What? So he's saying there are no leaders. So we've got two negatives that he wouldn't normally say. And this bloke went for it again. What type of reaction do you want to see from your players? Well, it's a pretty obvious question, but he replied, we have a meeting to try to realize how we need to behave when the game is tough, when the demands are so high. But you would think that they would know, wouldn't you, really, rather than have a meeting about how they're supposed to cope with an opposition being good and beating them, really. I mean, let's be frank anyway. But he says, we need to be strong and to trust our philosophy and have discipline. Circumstances are so, and then he went into a world of positives. Be positive and strong. Believe tomorrow we play a good game and compete against a team fighting to the top. We are Chelsea. We need to be at our best to try and win the game. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? And the bloke then says, beaten them already. Different game, different competition. We were so soft against Arsenal. Need to repeat to feel more, some same feelings we feel against Man City or Everton. He doesn't actually mention the selection of different players or lack of Palmer or Gusto. Players disappointed also. Feel bad. No shit, Sherlock, I would hope so. It's our opportunity to get the good feelings again, which is slightly hippie-like when you think about it.
Man.
Oh, God. Amen. He was asked about Emery, which is once a stupid question. One of the best managers in the world, surely. And you think, what will be his reply on frequent visits to the press room? Will he reply, don't be ridiculous, he's terrible? Of course not, because he wants to be friends with everybody. He always blows smoke up every single manager's arse. And he says, yes, top manager, provide good tools to perform. In fact, he says provide good tool to perform, as if there's only one of them. It's difficult to say who is the best coach, but he is one of the best. BBC bloke comes in. You're always positive, but this must be testing you. No, he says, getting annoyed. It's not testing me. And I'm just thinking, what? Surely it is. It's testing everyone in the club. He says, what? We are not in the place we are wanting to be. But be positive and try and help the team to perform. And once again, we got this stupid fucking question from a bloke who's clearly never been to a press conference at Chelsea before. Do you speak regularly with the owners? Do you know what their message is? And he always says, no. In the past few months, we didn't cross, which actually makes me slightly bemused. They haven't spoken to him for 2 months. But he then says, we communicate through the sporting directors. Nothing changed, you know. And he was asked, what's the mood like? Too many circumstances make us look. Now this make us look. And then he didn't finish the sentence. Now this problem with Enzo. We try to be all together, but now another thing appear. Another thing to deal with. We need to be positive. It's positive it out now. The only way to move forward and to take positive things is to be positive. You can't say to be positive, you need to be positive, but he did. Push, never give up. We are pushing them. Mudryk was never pushed in that game. We need to go there and try to win it. For fuck's sake, of course you are. You're not fucking going there to try and lose it. We need to be strong and trust our own philosophy. Yes, we've been there before. Thank you very much. Here we are, page 5 now. Not long to go, everybody. Not long to go. Yeah, absolutely sure. Yeah.
Bizarrely, the number of watchers has gone up. Obviously, as always, the moment JK gets to hold court, his fans come flocking.
Oh, thank you.
Especially the Villa fan who said, "Shut up, you mugs."
Shut up, you mugs.
Shut up, you mugs.
Mugs.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, all right, dirty. I know. Yeah. I'll come from Dudley. Enzo, could he have played on to the end of the season, or did he have to have the operation? He feels pain and limitation. Most important is to fix the problem for him. Can't perform, not good for him, not good for team, not good for club. Then Simon Johnson, last year of the Athletic, who used to be of this parish, used he not to be? Has he been on the show?
He's been on the show. Friend of the show.
Last year, after the Champions League, you fell away league form, just fell away. Season ended on a very bad note. How important is it that history doesn't repeat itself? The finger goes again. And it's then the rest of the question is inaudible. And he says, Man City result, of course, a disaster. That is a challenge. And then Simon says, is it hard for these players to qualify for the Europa Conference, not having a trophy to play for? And he then goes this is the most interesting thing, which I could have actually just talked about instead of the rest of it. You have to have motivation. We need to motivate them. They shouldn't need motivation. It's Chelsea. The problem is to have the capacity to perform. We cannot give them excuses not to perform. We are not machines, though, but some lack focus. The important 6 games to play, players need to feel the same. It's focus and try to win. Villa are fantastic. We need to perform, but we are Chelsea. And then the question was, players need to show they're part of next season and are good enough. He was asked, and he says, it's not just the coach. We're all responsible of the situation, and we all need to prove we desire to be here next season, which is something that he said and then got slapped down by the club, if you remember, for saying it.
Well, I'm sure the players on 7 and 8 year contracts are terrified they won't be there next season.
Yeah, and well, I think you can still sell them though, can't you, Martin? Can't you just sell them for huge less? You just sell them, you get rid of them. No,
they'll have made a loss on them. They'll have made a loss, and it fucks their books up. And they're such smart business people that they couldn't possibly acknowledge that they fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I just so many other ways of making. Yeah, no, because they've got so many other ways of making money. I really don't think there's going to be
most of them borderline illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, they could sell another hotel to themselves or some stupid shit like that.
Sorry, Chidge, get in there.
You done?
One last thing. He was asked about Chukwuemeka by somebody called Bobby. Was asked about Chukwuemeka.
Bobby Vincent, Football London.
Yeah, absolutely. Sterling has hurt his back, and Carney has hurt his knee, which was related to the old problem, as I said.
Currently undergoing rehabilitation. I would pay an awful lot of money picking up on something that you said there with kind of Poch's mini rallying call. I would pay a lot of money if he stood up in a press conference and said, we are the Chelsea and we are the best. We are the Chelsea. So fuck all the rest. Fuck them all. I would die a happy man. JK, well done, man. What a mission it is. You watch the presses, so we don't have to, and we love.
I'm sorry, I've gone on a bit with it. I was interested in the way that it evolved. Because he what he does is he doesn't want to answer some of the stuff, and then nearly towards the end, he gets asked a slightly more intelligent question, and then actually reveals something that he shouldn't really say. And then the following week, he's back on saying, "No, I've got to consult with the sporting directors before we make any decision about transfers or any players who are not up to it." So he definitely just the mask slips, but he has to go through a lot of rubbish all the way through it, and he gets asked lots of rubbish questions in the meantime. So it sort of makes sense. I almost feel I should say it was shit, except for the last question, and then we just leave it at that. But,
well done, mate. Well done, Poch. Right, it's now time for the second best thing on the show after the presser, and it is this. It's my team. It's my team.
Oh, Chidge, I love it.
Okay. I mean, we are slightly constrained by too many people currently undergoing rehabilitation. So therefore, we will have, in my estimable opinion, Cucurella as the left back, Silva, Chalobah, Petrovic in goal, obviously, Gilchrist on the right. Gallagher and Caicedo as the 2 because we know it works, and Enzo is injured out. I can't see him putting Cassidy there, and there ain't nobody else. That means that no Chukwuemeka, so Palmer has to go number 10, doesn't he? What's his name? Sterling. He's not fit. That's it. We don't have any other wingers, so we're stuck with Mudryk and Madueke on the wing. Gould help us, and Jackson up front. I suppose the only thing they could do, if they were being a bit left field, is to put Jackson on the left instead of Mudryk, and try Washington. I mean, he can't be any worse in front of goal than Jackson. And we all acknowledged on Monday that actually pretty much everything else about Jackson's game is really, really good, apart from he couldn't finish a shit, as I said on Monday. So there we go. I mean, I think that we don't have much choice. I think that's pretty much. I think he'll choose that because I don't think he's got any other choice unless you've got any better ideas, JK.
I'm trying to think who else. Well, I think we suggested perhaps Cassidy plays. Palmer goes. No. The dilemma is the Cucurella Mudryk scenario down the left is so dreadful.
But you've got Gallagher covering.
He makes up for it with Gallagher. I was about to say, yeah.
But then you've got our midfield getting pulled out of place.
Well, put 3 in there then. Yeah. I mean, you could make an argument of playing 4-4-1-1, couldn't you? But can you still trust Mudryk and Madueke to go up and down? No, is the answer to that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't
is-
see any other solution, Martin.
Chilwell still completely unfit.
Currently undergoing rehabilitation.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, what else do you do? That's all he can do. I mean, I don't actually have it unusually. Normally, I put up, the team from the last match, including who was on the bench. When did we play those bastards? Tuesday, wasn't it? Right. I mean, who do we have on the bench on Tuesday? This is always quite revealing. Lineups. Here we go. Right. Who we had on the bench? Bettinelli, Cassidy, Chaloba, Chukwuemeka. They came on. Chukwuemeka got injured. Washington was on the bench. Dyer, Kieran Dyer. Anybody? Surely not.
Academy.
Yeah, and Taranen. So you've got two academy players on there already. Washington, very young and untried and untested. So, I mean, we have, we're down to the bare bones, as Harry would say.
He might play Desazi right back, mightn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we are down to bare bones after the money that's been spent on the squad is absolutely pathetic.
If he plays Desazi at the right back, yeah, I suppose he could. Then he could. Well, do you think he might play three at the back then with Silver and? No, he wouldn't. He'd just put Desazi as right back.
Right back, yeah. Depending on how he felt, Gilchrist.
And it doesn't. But that doesn't help. Doesn't matter who you put at right back if it's cover further up the flank. That's what caused Gilchrist problems. Was Madueke decided he was going one way and not back.
It's rare for Madueke, though. He has actually, in the better games he's played, come back and defended well. So
unfortunately, he didn't on didn't on Tuesday when he knew that the lad playing at right back was only, I think it was his first Premier League start, wasn't it? It was very, very poor, and he's you wonder about team spirit when things like that are happening. They're playing for themselves. They're playing for their highlight reels.
Without Enzo, this was the team that played very well against Everton, wasn't it? And,
it was.
And we may end up with a better result as a consequence with Gallagher and Caicedo playing. But at the same time, he then has to work out what's happening, because you've got Leon Bailey coming down that right wing for Villa, who's terrific, and you just think they'll
and cash behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be a case for playing 5 at the back. So you basically, I mean, I don't know if Gilchrist can do this, but you'd have Cucurella.
He hasn't done it for ages, though, has he?
No, he hasn't. Well, he hasn't actually. No, he has done it fairly recently. Actually, he has done it fairly recently.
They became a 5 in the midst of the game, but I don't think they started off like that.
I mean, what I'm saying is that if you did that, you kind of have Cucurella playing as a wing back, which puts him further up the field to pin Bailey back, and you've still got 3 at the back. You know, so plus the fact Villa like to hit us on the break, so we'll be a bit deeper anyway. So he might do that. He might do that.
Fucking Justin's just seen that team line up. Jesus.
You cheeky bastard. You'll be sorry, mate. You'll be sorry. I got it right last time.
I don't think he's wrong, though, somehow.
But, I mean, for Justin's benefit, as we didn't really talk about this when he was on, but, I mean, as we've just been saying, that is pretty much all we've got. I mean, the only thing you can do is shift them around like bloody deck chairs on the Titanic.
We know how that ended.
No, quite. We're all a bit lost for words on this, aren't we? There's not really much else we can do.
It's shambolic.
It's a shambles.
It's absolutely shambolic that we are in this state with the money that's been spent, all the big bollocks nonsense they've come out with about how deficient everything was on the sporting and commercial side, and we end up with this as a fucking team in the back end of the season.
But to be fair, Martin, and I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but a lot of the reason for this is that we've got so many injuries.
Well, I mean, how? Yeah, which doesn't help. We sign fucking players that are injury prone.
I take your point. I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Jesus Christ, we signed Lavia, and I think he was broken goods when he came in the door.
Yeah, I agree.
Or whether he was overplayed at Southampton may have had something to do with it, but it's they do all these supposedly do all this analysis and check these statistics, and one look of hamstrings made of glass would have would have given you an impression might not be a reliable person to have in the squad over a 50-game season. But the frequency which they break down after supposedly recovering from the first injuries is a concern, and that's Pochettino has something to answer to on that as well.
You know,
what is he doing in training that's causing these reoccurrences?
Well, the whole injury thing is just so difficult to really figure out. I tell you what, I feel slightly better about. I mean, if he does play Silva and Chalobah, I feel much more confident with those two as our central defenders. I mean, they damn nearly shut out Man City on less than a week ago. I also feel far more confident with Gallagher and Caicedo as the two, because I think they complement each other much better than Enzo and Caicedo do. Gallagher's far more disciplined and gets around the pitch, and he's more physical. He's stronger than Enzo, basically. He doesn't get booted off the ball so easily, and he's got legs. So I feel more confident with those two in midfield. I mean, the weak spots, really, the worry is Cucurella at left back, and yet, Cucurella's not played badly, but if you've got Mudryk on the left, you know that he's going to leave him high and dry. You're not quite so sure about Medwecki. He left Gilchrist high and dry against Arsenal. It's a 50-50 whether he'll do it again against Villa. And we are going to be playing a side of comparable quality on Saturday with their tails up at home, really wanting to win. It's got a horrible, disastrous feeling about this already, hasn't it? And we also have got Palmer back, which gives us, a little bit more hope than we perhaps had against Arsenal. So it's a really tough one to call, but we will get on to that in due course, will we not?
Well, I'm still looking at the team, actually.
Do you want it back?
Yeah, can I just a sec? Yeah. You'd have thought that because Mudryk was just so dreadful against Arsenal with his lack of effort, his standing around like as
it's just his lack of intelligence.
Also its complete bizarre thing of not closing people down, was just standing there, was just so ridiculous that perhaps he would be rewarded for that non-performance by not being selected. And yet, I think he plays better when Palmer is there.
Who?
Because
Mudryk.
Mudryk, yeah, because he's then in a position to run onto those balls that Palmer slots through because of his blistering pace. I was trying to find an argument for not playing him, but who else could you play unless he gives some. I don't know who are the young wingers that he could give a go to who aren't
Mudryk and Madueke.
He's not going to. Yes, I wonder if anybody else from the academy. There's nobody else he's going to put in with has any first team experience, so he won't do that. So it has to be Mudryk. But I mean, you'd have thought that given Mudryk's appalling performance, he would be rewarded by being on the bench. But I fear that he's going to have to be in the side.
Well, I think if Sterling had been fit and not currently undergoing rehabilitation, then he would have got the Spanish Archer, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
All very confusing. Right. Here's the thing, right? Can we? I mean, I would say we must bounce back from Tuesday night, but can we? And if so, how do we do it, Martin?
God knows. I think some of it just depends on them having some professional pride in themselves. You've got nothing to... Yeah, I know. I deliberately allowed for the laughter punch after the punchline there, because, I mean, does on the beach apply here, or have they just tossed it off? I mean,
that was his fear in the press conference. He was saying that. He said they've got to be motivated for the last 6 games of the season, because there is the possibility of getting in the Europa Conference, isn't there?
But if they're not, what penalty is going to be applied to them? What's going to happen to them? Nothing. We already know this. They're not going to get, their professional career is not going to get harmed if they sack these games off. And if you give a player an excuse, they'll use it, and they'll say, "Oh, we're not going to play."
Let's just debate this quickly. What are the even if they're going to make a loss selling them, will they not make a loss selling them if they know that if you hope that the sporting directors will appreciate that the team needs to be improved, and if some of these players just don't come up to scratch, they surely just can't keep them on because they've got them on long contracts. Surely they'll just sell them at a loss. They've got to make that decision. You can't have these people stinking the place out and say, well, we can't sell them. They're on a long contract. No. Or we're not going to make any money out of it. Just regardless, you're going to make a loss, but sell them, because, that in a sense, that's That's what venture capitalists do, isn't it? You see some of your shares aren't working, so you sell them at a loss, to knowing that you'll make something back on some of the others. And if that's the attitude, I could see them selling half the squad, even for half the price that they paid for them. But as you said before, does that then affect the whole financial package, and then they're going to be then in the shit?
The PSR calculation.
Yeah.
Massively fucks it up. That's the scenario we are in. We can't sack Pochettino. We can't afford to sack him because it puts us over on PSR paying him off and his staff. That's how bad it is. Now, personally, if he were to go tomorrow, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. But the fact is, they fucked the finances so badly that they've had to. They probably can't afford to sack him, and they're doing all this chicanery with selling hotels to other companies within the structure. It's ridiculous. It's just, there's no. They may. And the other thing is the Malcolm Tucker line. If I get rid of these now, it looks like I fucked up.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
there might be a season's time. It looks like you fucked up, and I can get away with it.
Listen, there are positives amongst this miasma. Our record up at Villa Park is incredibly good, actually. I had a stat a minute ago. All right, we've won 6 of our last 7 visits to Villa Park. We lost 1, obviously, and although I think if I got the stats here, yeah, the last time we lost up there was 2021. Before that, it was 2014. I mean, overall at Villa Park in the Premier League era, as in when football started, as we all know, we've won 12 out of 27, drawn 7 out of 27, and lost 8 out of 27. That's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, overall up there in entire history, we've won 69, drawn 36, and lost 60. So it's been a relatively happy hunting ground for us. However, Villa are unbeaten in their last 5 matches at Villa Park, 1-4, drawn 1, and they've scored 14 times in those 5 matches. So they're averaging three goals a match. And they'll be looking to do the double over us for the first time in the Premier League era, last achieving that feat in 1989-80. And of course, we are on a 13-game streak without a clean sheet on the road in the league. So, yeah, it's pointing to a duffing, isn't it? But, having said that, you never know, because as I said, it was like this before the cup match. None of us really thought we'd have much of a chance, and I just had a weird feeling that we'd win. What worries me more about this is that you'd have to be a complete idiot really to not think that anybody with any sense would expect us to get beaten up there on Saturday, where we are right now, where Villa are right now, with Villa with something to play for, with us, with the players probably think they haven't got anything to play for. However, as I said to Justin, if the Chelsea that played against Man City the other week turn up, we've got a really good chance of beating them. If the one that turned up against Arsenal, we're going to get humped. What really worries me, though, I mean, particularly as Martin was saying, with this, the fact that, or both of you, in fact, we're both, we've still got a chance of getting European competition, haven't we, if we finish high enough? But these are our fixtures coming up. We've got Villa away, tough match. We've got Spurs at home next Thursday. They're playing for top 4. That'll be tough. We've got West Ham at home after that. They're shit, but they hate us, so they'll be bang up for it. We've got Brighton and Bournemouth, both of which are, bogey teams. Both have turned us over in the very recent past. Brighton haven't got anything to play for. Bournemouth haven't got anything to play for, but they're bogey teams. And we've got Forest, who will be fighting relegation, who will be bang up for it. So based on that, JK, how many wins/points do you expect Chelsea to get in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches?
Forest may be safe by then, of course, being the last game of the season.
Well, that'll give us a bit of a chance, won't it?
Yeah. So we might draw that one. But we may get completely taken to the cleaners tomorrow, but we might beat Tottenham on Thursday, because that's the kind of thing we do, of course. So I'd say 3 for that one. Who are we playing the following weekend after that? Who have we got?
West Ham.
West Ham. As you say, Chidge, they always come down to the bridge and put on a display, even if they're playing dreadfully. And Emerson will probably score just because he's playing against us. Might be a draw. There might be 4 points possibly. Bournemouth, we might get 1 out of 5, and therefore we might then get 9 points out of the whole thing if we beat Forest. And a 9 might be enough to get us into the Champions League, of course. Not Champions League. I mean the Europa League, of course.
Conference League, I think, more likely.
Yeah, the conference. I mean Europa Conference. I mean, who knows, Chidge, in the end? I mean, you just can't. We can't. They could just as easily tomorrow somehow put in a performance. We have no idea. This is pure glorious unpredictability, isn't it? This is
inglorious unpredictability, I think, would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Martin, if we get humped by Villa and Spurs this week, will Poch's position be untenable? Because you can't lose to Spurs.
I think it will make it more difficult for him to stay. I wouldn't say it would make it untenable, but we wouldn't be it'd be one step off, personally. I think it has the potential to go. We talked about toxic in the past.
Well, that's really what I'm aiming at.
It has the potential to go nuclear.
You're the man on the street. What do you think?
I'm a man. I'm a man on the street. I don't claim to speak for everyone.
No, but you know,
I know what you're getting at.
Matthew Harding lower. What's their reaction is going to be? Choice, isn't it? If we get humped by Spurs,
it will be brutal. It will be fucking brutal. And I think that may that may set the end game in place. Like as I said, if he were to get sacked tomorrow, I wouldn't blink. But I don't think the club are I think the club are in a position where they don't want to be seen to have made a mistake, if that makes sense. They just have this, ridiculous sense of pride about them where they can't admit to fucking up.
Yeah,
but aren't they convinced about the process, Martin? Aren't they
process? If I hear that,
I said it in quotation marks. I didn't.
Yeah, well, the only song I want to hear at the bridge is "You Can Stick Your Fucking Process Up Your Arse."
Indeed,
sideways.
Indeed.
I'm saying that. I should have said process, because that's what they will quote. Is that this is just part of development. I mean, the other day after the 6-0 Everton game, we were saying, well, it's not been a bad season, has it? With a semi-final and a final. And I suppose you could say some of the players are improving. And then the way the club has been going, it then goes from something not bad to something absolutely dreadful. So if we were to beat Villa tomorrow, then beat Spurs, everybody would be saying, well, actually, he's not a bad manager after all. But then the chances are we'd probably lose 3-0 to West Ham. You really can't.
There will always be people who will never have gotten over his Tottenham past. It's as simple as that. It will be as simple as that for some people, and that's down to them. If that's what they want to do, then fine. I don't disagree. If that's how people feel, then yeah, they're entitled to that opinion. But yeah, if we lose both games, it's just going to be a nightmare. And they folded last season after the Villa home game and sacked Potter a day later, and they may, try to cover their own arse again by doing what they perceive to be the popular move. But again, whoever you bring in, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference. Well, the best managers aren't going to want to touch the job, and there are so many big clubs with European football guaranteed who are changing managers this season.
Exactly.
Liverpool have obviously sorted theirs out. Sorry, I'm talking over you again.
That's
all right. Sorry, go on.
You've got Liverpool changing their manager, Bayern Munich changing their manager, possibly Juventus. I think Roma have sorted theirs. Feyenoord now have a vacancy because their guy's gone to Liverpool. So there's going to be a lot of change, and there's going to be a lot of vacancies at a lot of stable clubs. So are they going to choose to go to a stable club or a basket case? And
I think the stable door is shut after the horse has bolted, Martin. But if it goes very pear-shaped this week, I think really the ire should be directed at Clearlake and also at Winstanley and Stewart, because if Poch's position is untenable if we get humped by Villa and Spurs, surely, JK, Winstanley and Stewart's position should be untenable, because they're the people that got us in the fucking mess, in a sense. I really honestly believe that there are very few managers in the world who could have done much more than Pochettino has with this squad this year. I mean, I know he's made mistakes and things, and he's not perfect, and I made the BLs comparison, but it's been a fucking shambles since Bowley and since Clearlake took over, and they were the ones that put Winstanley and Stewart in, who happily went along with this under-25 idiocy etc., etc., who bought these players who are like knackered racehorses, etc., etc., they're the ones that need to fuck off and then fuck off some more. Surely.
Yeah, but isn't it a blame game? Isn't it easy for them to say, well, the manager isn't what we expected him to be?
Well,
and he
this is
should
the trouble.
should be making more out of this.
We need to look now. We need to look beyond that. They're hoping we think we just aim it all at Pochettino. I think some of us need. I think Chidge has it right. Winstanley and Stewart should be thrown out the nearest fucking window.
Yeah.
They should be defenestrated, removed straight
I think
away. Because
especially
they are killing this club.
especially over the Monaco twins, Dumb and Dumber.
Well, that's all on Stewart.
of course it is. Yeah.
And then it's all pointed out in the chat. All they have done is sign players from their former clubs, and that was also Cole Palmer because Joe Shields had a City connection.
Well, thank God for that.
Well, he also had a Southampton connection, Romeo Lavia. So
Well, who was a good player, but as you said, Southampton probably killed him last year. But
Yeah.
Southampton killed him last year by playing him too much. I mean, it's an absolute mess, you know. But I mean, I have no problem with having directors of football. You know, there are, I mean, you know, many examples where it's worked really, really well. Michael Edwards at Liverpool, for example, and there are many other examples too. But they have to be decent. These guys are low rent. They're low rent.
You have one
Monaco,
of them, not two of them.
Brighton, fuck off.
And you only have one of them, not two.
Well, and that's half the problem. I mean, you know, one asked the question why Vivell, who was highly regarded in the game, disappeared very, very quickly. He saw the writing on the wall. He's no mug, is he?
Clearly not.
But they're clearly perpetuating the whole Brighton thing, just because I think perhaps they're just looking at the money and seeing how much money Brighton made, but mostly at Chelsea's expense. I keep going on about this, but this bloke who's on gardening leave, Paul Jewell's son, is once again the Brighton talent scout. So what is it that somebody somewhere has said? Everybody at Brighton is wonderful about them, and look at them; they're below us in the table.
Do you know the only thing that they should have been, if you want to take one person from Brighton that makes what has made them successful, is Tony Bloom, and he's not going to go anywhere because he owns Brighton. So it was Tony Bloom, not these guys.
Yeah. Well, you know, we could go on for about another 4 hours whinging about this, quite rightly too, because it is a bloody shambles, really. I mean, you know, when all is said and done, I do think this has been a slightly better season than last season, but only slightly so. I mean, we've had some wins. You know, we've had some great highs this season, and we've had Cole Palmer establishing himself as a hell of a player. Gusto's turned up. But you know, all of the injuries have really not helped, and the recruitment policy has been shown to be an utter fulcrum of idiocy. You know,
I like Daryl's suggestion in the chat, but I suspect We Are the Shed would have a hell of a job trying to get that one through the stadium security.
Yeah, I agree with you, Daryl, but then I usually do. Okay, right, cock on the block time, Martin. What's the prediction for tomorrow evening?
2-0 Villa.
2-0 Villa. JK.
4-1 Villa.
4-1 Villa. Yeah, you do like a bit of an extreme scoreline, don't you? Mind you, you under-egged your prediction for the Arsenal match. You said 3-0. It was 5-0. Did you change your thing? You know, your prediction?
No, I kept it at 3-0, I think.
Fair enough. Yeah, my 2-1 looked a bit lame, didn't it? Mind you, I still managed to. I actually went up in the Prem predictions table, even though I had a bit of a shocker, really. But there you go. C'est la vie. Right, I am going to go 3-1 Villa as a reverse of the prediction I made so incredibly accurate but unforeseen in the FA Cup, because, as I said, Villa have been averaging 3 goals a game for their last 5 games. And we've shipped goals in every away game in our last 13. I don't see. I just Villa want it. Villa will want it more. They're bloody good, and you know, we are down at the bare bones and probably are on the beach. That's the reality of it. And I don't think Poch can get him fired up. He's not proven to be able to do that really much this season. So I hardly ever predict Chelsea to lose, but I cannot see it really turning around. So I'm going to go 3-1, and it pains me hugely to say so. However, if you want cheering up, we can help, because we have these for sale. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I'm not talking about the bloke wearing it. I'm talking about the T-shirt.
No, I'm looking at the pint.
You're looking at the pint, yeah. I mean, as somebody rightly did say to me when they saw this blasted around Twitter, Chidge, you've let the sign down here. It's a plastic glass. You can't be drinking Guinness out of a plastic glass on St. Paddy's Day. And of course, they were right, but we didn't really have much choice in the cock at that time of the day because unless you keep out of your Guinness glass, and I didn't manage to. Anyway, yeah, they're T-shirts with a meaning. We all love Conor Gallagher. We don't want him to be sold. Somebody, I saw this on Twitter, actually. I mean, this is not an original Chidge idea, but I just saw somebody write on Twitter, if they sell Conor, we riot. And I thought, that's hilarious. What a great idea. So I thought, let's make it into a T-shirt for the Chelsea Fancast. And there it is. Now, this is the first of many of our T-shirts. We've got others in the pipeline, including a startlingly beautiful one of me and JK and a pint of Guinness and some celery. We've got the Chelsea Fancast team as little kind of characters that Richard Scheller has drawn, which is hilarious. And there's another one that I'm holding until we need it most, but it's aimed fairly and squarely at Clearlake. I will say no more than that. If you don't fancy a T-shirt, you can get a mug. There we go. These beautiful little mugs. Get a white one or one with blue inside. Now, what you really need to know is the details. I mean, all sizes, men's or women's, are available because we're making them to order. We're not like just doing a whole batch and then hoping you buy them. Basically, if you order it, we will get it made. So any size, man or woman, you can pay via PayPal. The address to do so is the Chelsea Special at gmail.com. There you go. It's on screen now. Prices are, for the T-shirts, 25 quid, including postage and packing in the UK, 28 quid if you're in Europe, and 30 pounds if you're in North America. We're still trying to figure out the rest of the world. I need to get hold of Tim and find out. I've been busy. I apologize. The mugs are 15 quid in the UK, 18 quid in Europe, and 30 in North America. Although Tim's having a rethink about that because the postage has gone up ridiculously. So we might just be doing the mugs in the UK, but I'll keep you posted on that. Either way, if you want to order them, all you have to do is either check all the details out on our website, so chelseafancast.com, /category /merchandise, or just email us at the Chelsea Special at gmail.com. Tell us what size you want or what color mug you want, and give us your address. Pay via PayPal on the friends and family, of course, so that we don't have to pay silly charges, and we will get them out in the post to you, and it'll take about a couple of weeks, or there or thereabouts. So I commend it to you, commend it to the house, as I would. So there you go. Right, we're kind of almost there. Almost time to go to bed for us. It's been emotional, as they say, and we will be back on Monday at 7:30 p.m. Joined by me and JK. We'll be joined by the lovely Marco Worrell, JK.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
It's always great to see Marco. We'll be looking back at the match against Villa, obviously, and we'll be looking ahead to Spurs on Thursday night. A very quick shout out to our lovely Patreon people, many of whom are in the chat room tonight. If you like what we do, you can become a Chelsea Fancast patron, which basically means you bung us free money. Bung us a few quid every month for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Talk about a grift. It's really just a way to show your appreciation for what we do. And I tell you what, and I mean this honestly, I love you equally whether you do or you don't. But if you do, you will get, if you want one, a Kerry Dixon banner, a little mini banner, replica of the one that hangs up in the Matthew Harding. And of course, you will be able to join our Discord group, which is basically like the chat room, but 24/7. And it's fantastic because all the people in there are lovely, quality people, have a lot of fun. We're all quite nice to each other, apart from when we're very cross when Chelsea lose. But other than that, it's a darn sight better than the muck you get on X and other platforms. So there you go. Patreon.com /Chelsea Fancast if you want to join up for that. We had a load of emails in as a result of the Arsenal game. Can't think why. Strange that. If you want to join them, ping your email to us on chelseafancast at gmail.com, and then me and JK will convene to do an in-off the post show, won't we, JK?
We shall.
We shall. We will be back. Right. Finally, to get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com /Chelsea Fancast. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and you will help support the Chelsea Fancast. You will indeed.
Just see the latest comment.
No, I haven't. Because I can't read that.
I suspect that's an alias.
I can't read and chew gum at the same time. Where is it?
9:36. I'm not going to say the name. And I'll let you find out for yourself.
9th. Get me a Clown Lake out tee. I'll buy one right now. Oh, it's from Roman Abramovich.
Hello, mate.
Raymond, you've got my number. Just phone me, and you can have one for free. Should we just put this on the screen because people won't believe us? There you go. Nice one, Raymond. Hope you're all right. God, Jesus.
I don't. People will take that seriously.
They will. Good. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Right. Where was it? Well done. Good interruption, Martin. Appreciated that one. Right. You can follow the show on all the social media at Chelsea FanCast, me at Stamford Chidge, Jonathan at Jonathan Kydd, and Martin at Martin_Wickham. Martin, I'm sorry you've been struggling through with a nasty cold tonight. You feel better soon, mate.
Yeah, it's not too bad actually. It's just inopportune moments. I do need to do a Bob Fleming impression, but I'm getting better.
Well, indeed. And are you going up the Villa tomorrow?
No, I'm not going to either game tomorrow because thanks to those fuckwits at UEFA, the women are playing Barcelona at 5:30 at Stamford Bridge. So
you going to that?
No, I'm not. I'm working, so I'm missing both games. Originally, it was meant to be tonight, and they dipped around with the arrangements and put it on Saturday evening. So they've been doing a massive drive for tickets. I think they've nearly sold it out. I think there was 500 at the last count. But anyone thinking about it at the last minute, do go, do support them. It's what they're 1-0 up against Barcelona, and Barcelona tears are always funny. So let's hope they finish the job.
Absolutely right. I mean, I was planning on going to the Villa game actually. As an excuse to go and see Justin and my other mate who lives up there. But, the fact that it's 8:15 or 8 o'clock on a Saturday night kind of killed it for me because it's just too much ball ache to get up there and down again. Usual bloody broadcaster Premier League nonsense screwing that idea. So I shall be watching it on the old box. JK, I presume you're going up, or have you had the same problem as me?
I'm going.
You are such a trooper, mate. I love you, man. I absolutely love you. You're
And it's
proper. It's your birthday tomorrow. Jay, you kept that ridiculously quiet. We would have said happy birthday.
Well, I've slotted it in at the end.
You have. Listen, everybody who watches and listens to this show, tomorrow is JK's 21st birthday times 5.
20th.
It's his. I'm not going to tell you how old he is, but it's his birthday tomorrow, and he's lovely. He's one of the best things about this show, and we love him dearly. Get him to feel the love tomorrow on social media. Everybody, festoon him with love on social media because of all the people I know, he
very
deserves
crap
it.
heart there. My very
There
crap
we go.
heart.
Well, mate, look, have a great birthday tomorrow. I hope Chelsea bring you a nice birthday surprise and not what we predicted.
I'm looking forward to my prediction being crushed by the Blues coming out and playing out of their skins against the Villa side and giving them what for? Giving it right up. They don't like it up.
Don't like it up, Mr. Mannering. They don't like it up. Well, look, have a lovely day. I'll be thinking of you, and I'll ping you a message to say happy birthday tomorrow. But well done tonight. Always a pleasure. And I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, look forward to it, Chidge.
Right.
All the messages on the chat here. Thank you, wishing me a happy birthday. Thank you.
There we go. They've been quality tonight out there, haven't they? Actually, well done, everybody out there.
Also,
right.
good luck in tomorrow.
Thank you for watching and listening. See you on Monday. Until then, keep it blue, keep it carefree, and keep it Chelsea.
Happy birthday to me.